What's going on, y'all? This is your boy and your brother in Christ, T.R.U.T.H, and you're on Rapzilla.com. My album comes out September 13th. Like I said, it's called The Whole Truth. It's one of those right here records. It's a mixture of a cautionary tale and basically a testimony of God's goodness and God's grace. And so look for that. I'm looking forward to that. The hand of God is on it, and it's just crazy, even musically. So really excited about how you guys will connect with it. I basically wanted to do two things with it, sort of, I guess, a double entendre, in that it speaks to the fact that God took me from brokenness to wholeness. You get that, you sort of the full gamut on the album of my journey. So that's one thing. So I've been made whole in that regard, but then it's also chronicling the whole story. So it's the whole truth. It's very honest, very transparent. So that's really the inspiration behind it. What I can say, especially from the last record, the big picture was about God's redemptive story, the redemptive story. This album, I would like to say, is about my redemptive story. So I think it's very different. It's very different, at least from the big picture. It's very different than all the albums, really. The closest is closer to Open Book, but very different, because on Open Book, the season I was in was the Grammy, Grammy season. And the season I'm writing, the vantage point I'm writing from this record is the season of, the pit, basically, and writing from the pit. So it feels very psalmish in that regard. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. Musically, it's very different than all my other albums. Very different than all my other albums. If anybody has followed my body of work from Moment of Truth to present day, I just can't sit still musically. I can't sit still. I lose an audience here, gain another one here, lose this audience here, hit Twitter, hate me here, but then they'll love me here. It's one of those things. We want the old truth, and we love the new truth. I get that all the time. It's not an old or a new, it's just I evolve. I still like the stuff I did on Moment of Truth. I still like the stuff I did on The Faith, but over time I've evolved as an artist, and I think that if you stop evolving, if you stop growing, you should stop. I don't want to hear 5 albums later what I heard on your mixtape before you had one album out. So this album, like I said, musically is very, I'll leave. It's a surprise. It's a surprise, but it is musically. It's so interesting how it all happened. I wish I could give all the details, but I'm not at liberty to. But it's so interesting. When I was in my season of Sabbath, they actually gave me a call. Sean gave me a call during that time. Sean and I went on tour together in 2009. We toured Europe together, and so we developed a relationship from there. So when I went on my sabbatical, Sean called me. When I was on my sabbatical, I wasn't trying to hear about an album, a label, a record. I didn't know God still was going to still give me a platform for ministry. I didn't know nothing at that point. So he was calling me though during that time. Yo, man, what's going on? We starting this label. Want you to be a part of it. At that time, I was like, okay, I have no interest in a label. I'm not even, that's not the space I'm in. All I care about right now is my family, my personal development and growth, healing. So I told him that in the beginning, a couple months, but we kept talking. He was very persistent. A couple months went by. At the time, I was still signed with Cross Movement as well. A couple months later, he approached me about it again. Kept talking through. A couple months later, approached me about it again. Basically, all the way up to, this was probably a 6, 7, 8 month process, up to the point, which this is the crazy part, this is the providential part, to the point where I was no longer on Cross Movement Records. They basically pursued me. And so when I was no longer a part of Cross Movement Records, they were right there. Like, they had been pursuing me so long, it was right there. And then, they're very kind to their artists in a lot of different ways. So there was a lot of things that were attractive about it from that vantage point as well. And then this was the big thing for me. Ambassador was on the label. They had already recruited him. And if anybody knows the relationship between Ambassador and I, it's like Ruth and Naomi. And, Ruth was like, yo, wherever you go, I go. Your people are my people. When you die, that's where I die. You gotta be my guy. That's me. That's the relationship ambassador and I have. And so when the fact that he was on the label and he trusted him, you know, I was like, I want to be a part of this family, because I was gonna just go independent and just start my own label, which then the Lord worked it out where basically I got to do that alongside of them. So now I have my own label and I'm signed to their label. So it all worked out so perfect. I'm not looking to put any artist out until 2012 because I'm trying to focus on my own thing right now. But I am scouting. At any rate, the bottom line is, so it was important that I be a part of something. I've been, you know, as an individual artist, I've done a lot of things, seen a lot, been a whole lot of different places, you know. But I wanted to feel like I was a part of something. I was, even though I felt like I was a part of the large body, you know what I mean, of believers that did music and art, I never really felt like I was a part of a, you know, community, a cluster of people that just went out together, you know what I mean? And I feel like I got that with this community, and so that was another piece that was actually attractive to me. The grace of God is amazing, bro. That's what we stand on these days, you know. I guess we've been standing on that. I like the way Ambassador says it though. It says, same diamond, different setting, same gospel, you know. We apply it, the application of it is different now though, from an experiential standpoint. And so, you know, my deal is, I'm just grateful that, of course, obviously we understand that we ought not sin that grace abound, you know, or use grace as a license to do what we want to do. But to know that God is gracious is amazing to me, man. To know that He doesn't love me any more based on my performance or any less based on my performance. If I perform well, He doesn't love me anymore. That's people. And if I perform poorly, He doesn't love me any less. That's people. But He's different. We're accepted into the beloved on the basis of nothing but sovereign grace. So, man, that's a beautiful message for me and for everybody, for the world, for the Christians. Everybody's looking for grace, man. Even the world looking for grace. They want grace so bad. They need grace so bad, rather. They need it so bad. And only Christians have a grace that is without bounds, a boundless, relentless, stubborn grace that just won't let up no matter what. Rapzilla.com. What's going on, y'all? Goodness.